Hello, we are the officials from the Bureau of Customs, and this afternoon we have our friends from the industry, and we're here to discuss about a very historic milestone in the Philippine customs. And this is the introduction of a very innovative procedure that will simplify and somehow reduce the time, reduce the cost in the cargo clearance in the Philippines. This procedure is known as Carnet. What is an Carnet? If you are a businessman who would like to bring in some goods into the Philippines on a temporary basis, you don't have to file an entry, you don't have to pay the duties and taxes, you don't have to post a bond, you simply have just to carry a Carnet. So we are here with our businessman friends. One is an exhibitor, and the other one, the owner of one of the oldest distillery in the Philippines, to share with us the enthusiasm of a new procedure. Also, we have the two experts here who will also be helping us out on the technical details.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leonora Cawile, the Deputy Collector for Operations at the Port of Naiya.
And to be followed by our friend from the industry. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, so I'm Olivia Limpeao, the President of Distillery Alimpuaco.
On my left is one of the persons responsible for a lot of exhibitions in the country.
Hi, I'm JRM, the Marketing Director of Worldbeck Services International.
On my extreme left, please introduce yourself.
I am Lito Doria from Port of Manila, the Deputy Collector for Operations.
For the information of everyone, Carnet is not just an international system, it is also an international agreement, otherwise known as the Istanbul Convention. So more than 80 countries, or 90 countries I presume, are implementing this system. It has reduced time, it has simplified steps, you don't have to file an entry, and it is one of the most innovative procedures that will be implemented by the Bureau of Customs. So if you have a friend, a businessman friend, who would want to bring in commercial samples, what shall he do?
First of all, they have to contact their member of the chamber in their respective countries. Then try to apply for an Carnet, which is a document for the specific goods that you will be planning to bring to the Philippines. Then that particular issuing association will contact our guaranteeing association here in the Philippines. Then that particular Carnet will be issued, and once this Carnet is issued, it will be brought to the Philippines, and our customs officers will be more than happy to process the same in all the major ports in the Philippines, being seaports.
We are talking about Carnet, but has anyone seen what an Carnet look like? Perhaps we have a sample here. Mr. Cawile, will you kindly show us a sample of this document so that everybody will be familiar how it looks like when customs see it, and what documents should we accept in customs?
Well, there are actually 4 colors of the Carnet. It is mandatory that you will see the green color, the yellow, the blue, and the white. So for the Philippines, there will only be 3 mandatory: the green, the yellow, and the white. Well, for the blue, because we did not accept or we did not accede to the transit provision of the Carnet or the Istanbul Convention.
This document is known as the passport for goods, because according to the experts in Singapore, it will really look like a big passport. In fact, it even has a plastic cover when you bring it to customs. And this document can be obtained from, in the case of businessmen coming from another country, they will be getting it from their Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And for us here Filipinos, business Filipinos, who would like to bring goods outside of this country, they will get it from the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry,
yes,
or PCCI.
Right, yes,
okay.
That's right.
Is this document for free?
Well, this is not for free. They have to pay that. There's an amount.
There's a minimal fee.
Minimal. They paid to the NIGA. We call that National Issuing and
Guaranteeing Association,
which is the
PCCI in the case of the Philippines.
Yes.
And they call it temporary admission. So it means for a certain period only. What are the periods that can be acceptable here in the Philippines? Is it 1 year?
Attorney Lito, is it
Yeah.
right? It's 1 year, right?
There are some articles where they are allowed to be temporarily admitted in the Philippines for even 1 year.
1 year.
Okay.
Not more than that, because
Okay.
the validity of the ATA Carnet is just for 1 year.
Okay.
So it would not exceed the validity of the Carnet itself.
Okay.
So some goods are allowed to stay here for 6 months and some are for 3 months.
And failure to not re-export the goods can mean duties and taxes.
Yeah. This means that if you fail to re-export the goods, then the Philippine Customs will send a letter to the PCCI to collect the appropriate duties and taxes for the goods.
So when it comes to payment of duties and taxes, for those who fail, customs will only deal with the PCCI.
Yes, that's right.
So that means that the business has to police their ranks so that this system cannot be abused. So that means only the honest, the most compliant are most welcome in the ATA Carnet program.
Yes.
So just to clarify, so if I want to join an exhibition abroad, I will go to the PCCI,
Yeah.
file an application for the ATA Carnet, and then pay corresponding fees, which for now we don't know yet, but it's supposed to be announced soon. And then I will use this passport to accompany the goods that I'm going to send abroad.
To the country of destination. Yes.
Yeah.
And then I can go in without filing an import declaration to that country.
Okay. And the country of destination we're talking about are also ATA Carnet users.
Yes.
For a country that is not a user of ATA Carnet, that document has no value.
They have also to be signatory to the convention.
Do we have a listing that we're going to show to the business community that these are the countries where your ATA Carnet will be accepted?
In the form itself, these are the countries.
So, not in that list, don't dare.
Yes.
What about articles? Because I read in the Istanbul Convention that unfortunately our industry, liquors and other industries which I think are excisable like cigarettes, tobacco, and fuels are not
Not part of the...
part of the goods.
Okay,
So
okay.
where can we find the goods that are covered by the ATA Carnet?
Is there a list?
Yes, there's a list. Actually, it's in the rules and regulations.
Yeah,
It's in
that the Bureau of Customs.
There's a CMO where you can
it's part
find...
of the annexes to the convention. Like Annex B1, it refers to exhibit materials. Annex B2, professional equipment. Yeah. Annex B3 refers to the importation or temporary importation of pallets and packages. Unfortunately, we do not accede to the packages because those are dutiable under our laws. So some of the goods includes samples for manufacturing process, like for human goods which are imported for humanitarian purposes, and several hosts of other goods which the Philippines fortunately acceded and accepted when it acceded to the Istanbul Convention.
Attorney Tolitz, business, they value time very much, you know.
Yeah.
So how many minutes will it take for them to process when they already bring an ATA Carnet with them? You just present it to customs, then they will accept. Do they have to wait for validation check and things like that? How fast will it be?
There's a physical inspection.
The requirement for mandatory physical examination has to be done because you have to check the goods. Because
Okay.
it's the passport. Second, everything else is being dispensed with, like filing of an ordinary goods declaration with customs. And you don't have to go to the Department of Finance to apply for a tax exemption endorsement. Once the customs receives this type of document, they will just check the goods, then stamp the ATA Carnet, and there you go.
That means a lot of steps have already been eliminated.
Yes.
What if in the process of inspection, it turned out to be in another goods? Will they lose their entitlement in the ATA Carnet?
Yeah, unfortunately, the convention also talks about instances where fraud might be committed in the goods declaration. So it's very clear in the convention that it does not dispense with the power of the Bureau of Customs to seize goods which are, imported in violation of our customs laws, rules, and regulations, like the CMTA. So if these are misdeclared or even undervalued at times, then it will be subject to seizure proceedings, just like any other goods which are declared. But the only good thing about second convention is that there are several layers of control that are already being conducted on the goods. And there's no incentive on the part of the businessman to misdeclare the goods. So therefore, the credibility and the genuineness of the goods has to be very high.
Yes,
So
and I think there's also some checking from the country of origin.
Yes,
When they,
including-
before they
yes,
issue the carnet, they will also check it.
Yes.
Well, in the event that it's already time for exportation, who will remind or notify the businessman? Will it be PCCI or customs?
The regulation only says that you have to stay within a specific period, like 6 months. And it's now incumbent upon the holder to really re-export the goods.
So nobody has to remind him.
Nobody, but we have devised a system where we will be able to monitor which particular goods covered by Atta Carnet are, exceeding the time to stay here in the Philippines.
Okay.
Once that happens, we will inform PCCI for the appropriate payment of duties and taxes. Or if, in some instances, those goods are already exported, but they did not pass through customs, then there is this thing we call regularization fee that we have to collect, subject to the submission by the holder that these goods are really re-exported already out of the Philippines.
So in the event that they exceeded the days that they have to stay in the Philippines, and they would tell you, please, I forgot, will customs reconsider? Or as soon as there is already an abuse of the system, whether you forgot or something happened to you, you still have to pay.
The rule says you have to collect duties and taxes. But if customs fail to collect these duties and taxes, after 1 year, they can no longer
May
collect.
prescription.
May prescription.
So it's really incumbent upon customs to really do its part
Monitor.
to collect the duties and
But going back to what he said earlier, I think, JR, it's
Yes.
very good for you that now samples can also be brought in.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the issues
Correct.
of a lot of the exhibitors
Yeah.
coming to the Philippines.
When we go to abroad and invite foreign exhibitors to participate in Philippine or expositions, one of the major concerns we always get is how are our samples going to enter your country? They have this misconception that the Philippines is not yet as open to the global economy. So now that the Atta Carnet is here, we're very happy and we're very optimistic that it will help our potential exhibitors, especially when we visit other countries. Now that the Atta Carnet is here, it's interesting to note that as organizers of the exposition, it's easier to sell the country when we go out. And
So there will be a global impact.
yes,
As far as the Philippines is concerned, the perception is the Philippines is not yet that open.
Yes.
Okay, and now with the Atta Carnet, the perception will be we will be more open to business.
How about, John, the issue of forwarders? Will the Atta Carnet also not require that we work with forwarders all the time? Or is it still a must that we work with forwarders? Because that's also an added layer of cost. And to reduce cost means to encourage people to come and exhibit and to do more business with the Philippines.
Most of the businessmen here have been telling me the reason why they are availing of the services of a forwarder because they are not so aware about a lot of things. But as soon as the businessman becomes aware that he can already go straight to the people that we will be dealing with, I think it's a matter of choice with the businessman if he wants to. There is no rule that says that you have to. But I think since your objective is reduction of costs and reduction of time, reduction of steps, I think you might as well be familiar now that there are options like the Atta Carnet, wherein you can eliminate a lot of unnecessary layers. That can be a reduction of cost in time.
In fact, Carnet even includes travelers, di ba?
Yes.
So if you bring the goods, you don't need to have a broker in the airport.
So you can actually hand carry your samples, show
You
them
can
the
carry-
carnet,
show them the Carnet,
then
then
it's good to go.
This is a very innovative way because our role in the Bureau of Customs is to modernize and reform. And modernization simply means simplification of customs procedures and harmonizing our procedures with the best practices in the world. And Ata Carnet is one of the best practices.
Let's put it in mind, the Atacarne itself is considered the customs document. So the
It is.
Atacarne is your goods declaration.
Yes.
So it covers the entire description of the goods, the value of the goods, and everything that customs needs for the proper assessment of the goods, but no payment of duties and taxes.
Yes. Well, even though it is a customs document in all parts of the world, this is unique because the production and these documents are also monitored and supervised by the International Chamber of Commerce based in Paris. So that ICC-based organization monitors all the Ata Carnets being distributed all over the world. So that means that we're part of an international system and part of something that is being anticipated by the whole international business community around the world. We're in for very exciting times, very historic, and very much anticipated. Why? Because this is 30 years in the making. Can you imagine? A lot of people have really worked very hard for this system to be implemented in our country. And thanks to the industry for supporting it, that really made it possible, because without the support of the industry, this thing cannot happen, because the role of what you call National Issuing and Guaranteeing Association is the most important part here. Because customs may be ready, but if there's no industry to guarantee customs, that in the event no exportation, somebody has to pay. So that's the role.
When you apply for an Ata Carnet, which chamber will you pay? The country that you applied for, or the country that you're
That
going
depends where you're coming from. So if you're a businessman coming from abroad, you deal with your chamber there.
They're the ones who's gonna
Yes,
protect.
but this one, in this case, if you
For
are
export.
you are going to another country, you're from the Philippines, then you
apply.
go to PCCI.
Okay.
It plays a very, very important role, because PCCI will make sure that the people that you deal with, which is the industry, they police their own ranks. Because a system like this can be abused. So there must be no abuse in this system. We are only dealing with legitimate traders, people who knows how to comply. These are the people. Businessmen who have other things in mind, you are not welcome in the Ata Carnet. You are only welcome if you are going to be compliant. People outside of this country will know if there's an abuse in the system. So for us to be trusted and for us to be really a part of the international system, we have to be honest, we have to be compliant. Otherwise, we might create that impression that this is a non-compliant country.
We also wish to thank the government,
Yes.
though it took like 30 years, as they say, better late
Better
than
than never.
never, right?
Better late than never.
After all, we know that it's really a tool to facilitate trade, and it's something that we really need these days, because we can't just keep on importing. We also have to export, and this is one of the tools and systems that will encourage our businessmen to export and generate the much needed foreign exchange to help our balance of payments. So we also thank the government and the Bureau of Customs, the Department of Finance, and also I think the Congress, right?
Yes.
Because they had to ratify this treaty
So they ratified.
to get it approved.
The Senate specifically.
The Senate, yes. So we thank everybody for a job well done. It's now, the question is, how do we implement? So we look forward to the next phase of the Ata Carnet in its implementation.
One good indicator would be if there will be a lot of business opportunities that be coming for the Philippines. We shall be the destination of a lot of foreign assisted businesses in the Philippines, wherein this is exactly what the president has been calling for, that a lot of businesses,
Right?
yes,
Mines,
yes,
generates tourism,
Correct.
there's a lot of benefits.
opportunities will be coming, and Ata Carnet is a tool that we are using to attract more. And I think that will happen, and we're very, very, very proud that this thing will happen within this period. We're happy to tell the president of our country that this is one thing that he can announce to the international business community whenever he goes that we are a practitioner of an international system that will attract more businesses in the Philippines. So it means more money, more opportunities, more businesses. I think we are in for big things in the Philippines.
Of
Excited.
course, also for the exporters dyan.
Yes, for the
Our
exporters as well.
here.
Yeah, to showcase
They
the
can
To
Philippines.
take their
showcase the
goods,
Philippines.
yeah, showcase their goods abroad.
Yes. Well, I think most of the countries that is in the list are all the most progressive countries in the world. There's nothing there in that list that you can call the list of the poor countries in the world. It's all countries that are very progressive. And I think that their progress will also be replicated here. We will also be equally progressive.
So the ports will be very busy.
There are already appointments for Carnet familiarization or awareness.
So all those ports have to be ready. It's not just airport, but also the seaports. Even in the south ports, because there are certain areas that we have that they don't go through the major ports or the district collection district. We have already conducted training to our people and via online. So will you kindly tell us how this training has been done to prepare our people for the Atacarne?
2 weeks ago, we had a training with the expert from the ICC, and she very clearly discussed the nuances, the peculiarities of the Atacarne document, how customs could process the same. And fortunately, also a small team from the Bureau of Customs and PCCI went to Singapore to really observe and listen the discussions from Singapore Customs on how they process the Atacarne that are being issued in Singapore or are received by Singapore Customs. So with that experience, we will be able to handle efficiently the Atacarne whenever it will arrive here in the Philippines.
Singapore is now the third richest country in the world. That means that we are on the road to prosperity. But because, in Singapore, everything is easy. They are the proponents of the ease of doing business. They are the model all over the world. So I think that you are in the right place to learn it. Learn it from the experts that how to correlate the Atacarne with the economic development of a country. And I think that this is one way to do it.
The statement from our friends in Singapore Customs only said that processing Atacarnes is quite boring. So
I think the success there is the close coordination between the Singapore ICC and customs. So they gave emphasis on that.
Well, I think our country is in for a lot of big things, most especially when it comes to customs. Our administration or our customs service is not so much known for innovation. But now, we are changing. We are showing to the whole world that customs is reforming, modernizing, and the Atacarne is our evidence of success. So I hope that we are inviting all the business people out there. This is your opportunity to be able to use a very innovative procedure. If you are a businessman, as I told a while ago, who would like to bring in goods on a temporary basis for commercial samples or exhibition materials, this is your chance. And our two businessman friends here can assure you that only the most compliant are most welcome. And this is a system that cannot be abused, and there is a complete monitoring of the system. And I would say that we are joining the ranks of the most progressive nations, the most advanced nations in the world, to use Atacarne to make our Philippine customs one of the most modern in the whole world. Thank you very much, friends. Maraming salamat at mabuhay po kayo.